Joseph Castle with Spectrum Channel 4, and today I'm here with Danae Edelin, who is the founder and president of the National Alliance on Mental Health. Thank you, Mrs. Edelin, for being here with me today.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you, Joseph.
Alrighty, I have some questions outlined here for you. The first one I'd like to ask you is, what are the circumstances that led you to create the National Alliance on Mental Health?
Basically, the National Alliance on Mental Health is the nation's largest grassroots organization in the country that focuses on people with a mental illness or their families. And I actually started a NAMI affiliate here in Brown County. It's a nationwide organization in all 50 states. So I didn't actually start the association itself, I started an affiliate here in Brown County. Okay. And the reason why I started the affiliate is because I had a psychotic break in Brown County. I went 5 nights without sleep, went into psychosis, and had to be hospitalized. But it took me 7 years to find NAMI, the affiliate. And so I realized that we needed to have one here in Brown County. There is a NAMI in Cincinnati, but we needed one out here. And so that's why I founded the NAMI affiliate. And just so you know, we will be celebrating our 5th anniversary in July, July 14th, so save the date, and we want everyone to come and help celebrate NAMI Brown County.
That's great, yeah. I'm sure it's very nice for a lot of people here who don't really get to seek help, that they have a close place that they can come to, because Cincinnati's a drive. Not everyone can afford to go back and forth, especially with the way gas is now.
Right, exactly. And you know what's important about NAMI is it is an organization dedicated to people like me who have a mental illness or their caregivers, someone who lives with someone who does or someone who loves someone who does. And the statistics are 1 in 5 individuals wrestles with a mental illness in this country. So it is more prevalent than you think. So that's what's really important, is that people need help. The other important statistic to understand is every 11 minutes somebody dies by suicide. Now, I actually had my own suicide attempt before I found NAMI, and I've convinced that if I would have known about NAMI, I would have never attempted to end my own life.
Yeah, I actually know a couple of people here that live around here. There were 2 friends, they actually both ended their lives within pretty short time span of each other. One of them, I think his funeral was just like a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it's critical for people to understand. And one thing that I want to add here, if that's okay, is I was talking with a doctor. The brain is the most marvelous organ in the universe, according to Dr. Brittany Bussey of Work Care. I'm actually a columnist, so I interview people as well. And, you know, it is the most marvelous, but it's also the most delicate. And what's really important for people to understand, and this, we'll get into this in more specifics in one of your other questions, is, you know, if you are a person who is healthy, emotionally healthy, you know, you want to live life and you want to prosper. Okay, but if you start having negative emotions and suicidal thoughts, there is something wrong in your brain, okay? One of the things that I always say is, you know, in your body, when there's something wrong in another part of your body, you feel pain. Well, how your brain tells you that there is something wrong is through negative suicidal thoughts, anxiety, depression, something like that. So anytime, if you are feeling, and you know, one of the wonderful things that's happened recently is now physicians do a mental health check. And that's the first, you know, front line. Most people have a doctor. You just need to be candid with your doctor. You need to say, you know, I'm having some suicidal thoughts. You know, they can help you with some medications. You don't have to be hospitalized. This prevents having to go to the hospital like I did.
Yeah, of course. I think some people might write off the idea that your mental health is like actually a large deciding factor in pushing you over those edges, but really, you know, as much as maybe we don't think about it, it really does affect our decisions on the daily. Like, just it's really important that we always keep ourselves in an environment that is healthy for our brains and our souls, you know, because if we continuously put ourselves in these horrible positions, then we're probably going to be more prone to have those suicidal thoughts and depressing moments,
Right.
like you described.
And you know, the thing about NAMI is a community of safe, supportive people. And so they're people like you and people like me. And it's confidential. We have a NAMI Brown County Zoom call on the second and fourth Thursday of the month. They can contact me. You have my email and phone number. They can contact me. I will get them. They could be a part of the NAMI Zoom calls. We actually have someone from Canada who's a part of our NAMI Brown County. He's a member, and because what happened was his son was in psychosis. A lot of my writings are online and they're for free. And he was looking, trying to find some information about psychosis. And so he found one of my articles and reached out to me, and we were able to get him connected. And what took me 7 years took his son 7 months. So he was only hospitalized once, and he's now in a new career. So we already have a NAMI Brown County success story. So if you want to have a follow-up, I can get someone for you to talk to someone in Canada.
Oh, that's pretty neat, yeah. I'm kind of surprised someone from Canada would call the Brown County.
Right, well,
NAMI, yeah.
That's the beauty of, you know, the internet. Like I said, I have written more than 50 online articles. As long as you spell my name right, you'll get my information.
Yeah, I'm sure that might be a slight difficulty since your name is a, let's say, unique
Well, it
spelling.
actually makes it easy. If you spell it right, you'll find my information. So.
Alrighty, well, let's move on to the next question now. What are some of the warning signs of mental illness?
Well, you know, these are hard because there's like 10 warning signs. Okay. For me, one of the critical warning signs was sleep. My first psychiatrist said, when it comes to mental illness, it all comes down to sleep. And that is the truth. Even if you have a child during puberty that's having trouble sleeping, you know, my son Ethan was having some trouble sleeping. I immediately went to the doctor, got him on melatonin. He was fine. You know, what happened to me is I went 5 nights, literally 5 nights without sleeping. And I went into psychosis. So sleep is very important. Another thing that's important is a change in behavior. If you have someone who's very extroverted and likes to talk to people and suddenly becomes very introverted, and so you have to know the person, a change in behavior. Impulsivity, you know, is one thing. You know, if somebody starts spending a lot of money, you know, something that a lot of people don't think about is if people get in a lot of car wrecks, you know, when they're impulsive, there's something called hypomania, you know, or mania. And you can, you know, we call them negative coping skills. It's like drug use, alcohol use, binge eating, you know, binge spending, those kind of impulse behaviors. I had a friend whose mother bought a Santa suit at Christmas time. You know, she was bipolar like I am. And so, you know, it's those kind of things. That's kind of the spiraling down of negativity, you know, and isolation. You know, someone who's a straight A student, their grades drop. That's a warning sign. A lot of times it can be tied back to some form of trauma, and that's important to know.
Yeah, a lot of times, you know, not everyone will pay attention to it because, you know, not everyone knows them in a close, like, friend-like relationship, you might say, and those signs just kind of go over their head. They don't even realize. But anyone that's close will tell you, like, yeah, you know, they were kind of showing signs like that this might happen eventually.
And what's important to realize is, you know, if someone has a suicide attempt, you know, they will probably have more than one. And those are the people that die by suicide. So there is no such thing as crying wolf when it comes to mental health. I mean, if someone is having suicidal thoughts, they need help now. And there is so much more we can do now from terms of prevention. Helping them get connected with people like themselves so they understand you are not alone. That's the most important message. You are not alone. So, you know, so I hope that helps.
I agree, yeah. If you're feeling like, you know, maybe you want to end your life, just know there's plenty of people going through a similar situation. You're definitely not a unique case, just as she was describing. So my next question is, what are some of the stigmas that people with a mental health condition face?
Well, the hugest stigma is that we are crazy, dangerous, and violent. Okay, and that is really not the case for the majority of people like me. I mean, do I look crazy?
No.
Do I look dangerous?
I wouldn't say so.
Okay. Now, there are a small percentage, maybe 1 to 5% of people who are in a state of advanced psychosis that can be violent at times. So there is that. But that's like, you know, judging the population of the United States based on, you know, 1% of the population. So there are 1.9 million people in the state of Ohio that wrestle with a mental illness. Not all of them are severely mentally ill. So that's a big one. The other stigma is that people like me cannot be productive members of society. You know, we are crazy and we lack self-control, we lack the ability to manage ourselves, that kind of thing. And that is simply not the case. You know, a lot of people like me, provided we get help, we can live as a productive member of society. That's what I've tried to do. You know, mental illnesses are medical conditions. They are diseases of the brain, okay? They are no different than breaking your leg or having cancer.
Yeah, I agree. You know, it's a bit much for us to simply write off people that have those problems. I mean, you know, if they at least find somewhere to seek help, you know, they might realize that their problem is not nearly as bad as people might think it out to be.
Right. You are not alone is what the message you want people to know.
For sure. Okay. The next question I have is, if we suspect a family member or a friend may be suffering from mental illness, what are some of the first steps we should take to get help for them?
There is a suicide prevention hotline, okay? And one of the things that's happening in July is there will be a 988 number. And the National Alliance on Mental Illness Ohio affiliate, state or association, has been working with the governor's office so that people who have mental illness issues can call 988 and get connected with NAMI. So that's really critical. That will not happen until July, but that's really critical. If in the interim, if you get to a situation where you have a loved one who is out of control of themselves and you as a caregiver know that, then obviously 911, you know, and get the police involved. There is something called the Crisis Intervention Team. It's CIT, and you can request a CIT trained officer come to your house. They have learned an alternate approach for dealing with people like me when we are in crisis, okay? You know, a lot of what a policeman does is, you know, because criminals, to deflect criminals, you know, there's, you know, a position of authority. But when a person like me is in psychosis, we are in our head. You know, we are not clearly in touch with reality. I was not either. And so that is really critical. And so police officers who have been through the CIT training have learned a new approach on how to deal with people like me. They will have information about how to get them to the hospital if they need to go to the hospital. You know, the other thing that I want to say is being on a psych ward is not like the movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, okay? It is not a vacation, but it is a good place to be if you are not in control of your mind and you're having hallucinations like I did, or going into psychosis, or having delusions, okay? The most safe place you can be is in the hospital, and they will help you get your life back. So that's a really critical, important point.
Okay. I'd like to ask about the CIT training you were mentioning. How long has that been going on? When did that start?
That's been in Ohio for, I want to say, at least probably 5 to 10 years. Okay, I have a friend. He works in the Claremont County Police department, and he trains, I believe, with the Child Focus in Eastgate. They train police officers, I believe, twice a year. It is actually a 40 hours, 1 week training, and they do, I actually participated in it. And they have role plays with people like me who pretend to be out of control. So each police officer gets the lived experience of responding to someone who's not responsive, who's someone who's in their head. And so it's an excellent program. This program, you hear in the news a lot about police brutality. Okay, and I am not negating the fact that that is the reality that does happen. And it does happen to people like me. But if you request a CIT trained police officer, they know how to handle people like me.
Okay, that's very interesting, and that's something that people should take note. I actually did not know about that until you just informed me. So, yeah, I'm sure that's going to be a very useful asset for plenty of people.
CIT trained police officer.
Alrighty, my next question. Have you noticed an increase in people seeking help for a mental illness due to the pandemic and being so isolated?
Absolutely. As I said before, there are 1.9 million people in the state of Ohio that have a mental illness. 43% of the population have said that they have an increase in depression and anxiety and loneliness due to COVID. In fact, if there is a silver lining related to mental illness, if there is a silver lining related to COVID, it is awareness about mental illness, and people are more empathetic to people like me.
Yeah, I know COVID really trapped us all inside of our houses for a while there, especially in the beginning, whenever all the state governors were kind of just, panicking and trying to think of what to do, so we all just had to stay home, and people really didn't socialize as much, and I know that affected a lot of people because we're social human beings,
All right.
We need to be able to talk to people face to face,
Right.
because it's social people like us, we can't just stay inside our houses all the time.
Right.
We got to go out and see people. That's whenever we start getting into our own heads, like you were talking about.
Precisely. And the most critical thing is that COVID actually taught the rest of the population what it's like to be a person like me. I have to manage my mental health daily. And there are various things that I need to do every day to manage my health, like sleep, diet, exercise. We're going to get into that in a minute, I believe.
I believe so. So to move on, what can people expect when they attend a support group meeting for the first time?
Well, what I want people to understand is everything is confidential, and it's a community of safe, supportive people. We adhere to the NAMI support principles. We see the individual first, not the illness, and there are 10 of those principles that we go over every time. And, we make sure that we give people a chance to share their lives. And like any support group, NAMI support group is a lot like AA. You go there to feel better. So what we do is something called, when somebody brings up a problem, we have something called group wisdom. So we share our lived experience, how we dealt with the fragmented mental health system that we have today. So obviously, people can come and just observe, via Zoom, or they can talk, or they can share, whatever they feel comfortable about. I am a facilitator, and I'm working on getting some other facilitators as well. And due to COVID, we had to go to Zoom. And now we will have the hybrid model moving forward.
Okay. I'm sure it's comforting for a lot of people to be able to tell them their experiences with you, even if it was just over a Zoom call, Just the very fact that they can have that one-to-one with someone and know that they're not the only ones, and
right.
It's not unique to them.
Right. You are not alone is the message for everyone.
Alrighty. I understand that you also have a podcast and are a regular columnist for several newspapers, as I believe you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, well, I was a guest on the Veterans Trash Talk Network Mental Health Warrior podcast by Cliff Bauman, and we are in negotiations to have me come on and be a Mental Health Warrior Tips feature, but that's to be determined. I have actually, my column is in 5 counties here in Southern Ohio, the Claremont Sun, the Brown County Press, and the Times Gazette, and a couple other publications as well. And I don't know if you know, but in 2020, I actually won the Ohio News Media Hooper Award for my original column about mental health.
I believe you got first place for that.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I did read about that.
Yeah, and the article was about the warning signs of mental illness. So those are online and out there as well.
Okay. I think you already covered that. Alrighty. Well then, have you accomplished? Oh, my bad. You have accomplished so much over the last few years with your organization, podcast, and newspaper columns. Do you think that this has helped your own mental health journey and perhaps encouraged others to seek help?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that is so detrimental to people like me is mental illness stigma. We feel like we are, our self-esteem is in our shoes. We feel like we have no value or no worth or anything, but that is absolutely not true. We are unique individuals with unique gifts, talents, and abilities, and we each have something to contribute to our society. And our society needs to know more about mental illness. There need to be more people like me speaking out about their lived experience, because this is the only way we can, as the governor said in his State of State address, where we can actually build a system. I mean, the problem with the mental health system today is it is crisis-based and reactionary. And the system needs more people like me who've been hospitalized 5 times, and I can tell you what works and what doesn't. And so, I have felt very blessed with the people in Brown County, but also people throughout the world, actually. Someone from Canada and New Zealand who did the work to find my articles and then reached out to me. So I am more than happy to get everyone, like I said, I so regret the fact that I attempted my own life, because I am loving my life, and I am so glad that I am here to be a part of it. I've lost 2 friends to suicide, and I mourn their deaths, and so I've made a promise to them that I will speak out and help anyone, and that's what I'm trying to do today.
If there's anything to take away from this, it's that your life is more valuable than you might think it is, Even if it's not for your own sake, it's for your family's sake, There's people that are going on, they keep moving forward because of you. And for that reason alone, if nothing else, you should really reconsider ending your life.
I agree 100%.
And let's see, how can people in Brown County get in touch with someone at the National Alliance on Mental Health for support group information?
Well, my phone number is 513-436-0010. So they can call that number and they will get in touch with me. You also have my email address that I think you're going to distribute or put in the notes below or whatever. And email me and I will respond, and we will be able to get them connected immediately. And if I cannot help, let's say someone is in a crisis situation, I can get them connected with someone like Deanna Vietz, who's the Executive Director of the Brown County Board of Mental Health and Addiction Services. So we can help.
Is there anything else you would like to share with us today?
Actually, I would, yes. Can I just grab my card for a minute here?
Sure.
We'll send you a copy of this so you have this. This is a Mental Health Warrior Shield. And I am, today is actually my first day of starting my own company, writing and speaking about mental health. And this shield basically has 4 components. There is courage, creativity, faith, and wisdom. And this is what I have learned in my decade-long struggle with mental health. You know, it takes courage to choose life daily. It takes creativity to view your situation different than society views you. It takes faith, either in yourself, in God, or someone else, to keep going when the road gets difficult. And it takes wisdom to learn from your own mistakes. Thank you.
Thank you. Wise words. Thank you, Mrs.
Edelin.
Edelin. There we go. Got to make sure I pronounce that last name right. Thank you, Mrs. Edelin, for meeting with us today and sharing information on your organization. I'm Joseph Cashel from Spectrum Channel 4, and I'm signing off.